Welcome back to weeklyin.tv. We got one more story for you guys. It's actually it's kind of a short story, but we're gonna have some back and forth, I think, in there. It's about the definition of a journalist.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So senators right now, and I read this story in the Huffington Post by Jack Merkinson today.
Okay.
They're trying to, because of what's happening with the administration going after journalists, or they did go after journalists.
Right.
And actually recently we've discovered that they went after a McClatchy journalist
Okay.
in Australia. They're trying to put laws in place that protects journalists so that this won't happen, so that we can actually have real journalism.
Well, I thought we had those laws.
We're supposed to.
Okay.
Okay.
So we had the laws, they're just not.
I believe that they're trying to improve them.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
So
good news then.
it is good news.
Yeah.
All right. But what happened today, and McClatchy actually went down to view the debate, is they're trying to figure out who's a journalist.
Okay.
Who are we supposed to be protecting?
Right.
And some people and some legislators are arguing that the big-named media outlets, those journalists should be protected, and nobody else.
Establishment media.
Establishment media, well, not just establishment media, like The Guardian,
Okay.
who is not establishment media.
They should be protected.
They should be protected, but
Okay.
they're saying the people who the media outlets are established.
Right.
For example, Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC,
Okay.
CNN, and the like should be protected, but nobody else.
No one other than
No
those
one
large
other than
media
that.
outlets.
Okay,
Okay.
so basically Senator Dianne Feinstein made a suggestion on what we could classify as a journalist, and that the suggestion was that the definition comprise only journalists who make salaries, and saying that it should just be applied to real reporters. So people who are bloggers, who are freelance journalists, who don't make a salary, they make basically a per story pay,
Okay.
if you will.
Mm-hmm.
They are not classified, at least in Dianne Feinstein's eyes, as real reporters, and they should not be protected
Okay.
by these additional laws. Thank God, and I'm hoping I read this correctly. If not, I'm going to be very disappointed. But thank God, Senator Charles Schumer from New York kind of was against this idea, because they're saying that there are bloggers and there are freelance journalists, like I just had mentioned, that don't make an actual salary.
Right.
And that we should probably look into expanding that a bit. So he has a quote that I'd like to read for you guys.
Okay.
In this quote, however, which is I think the reason of the debate, we'll talk about that after I read the quote, but there's something that I want you guys to pay attention to. Here's a quote. "The world has changed. We're very careful in this bill to distinguish journalists from those who shouldn't be protected, WikiLeaks and all those, and we've ensured that," Schumer said. "But there are people who write and do real journalism in different ways than we're used to. They should not be excluded from this bill." So 2 notes. 1 note, they hate WikiLeaks.
Oh yeah.
They hate them, and they hate people who are like them because they expose embarrassing things to the administration.
Right.
They are not going to allow WikiLeaks. I would not be surprised if they said everybody but WikiLeaks is in this provision, in this bill, is protected.
Okay.
I would not be surprised. I would be very saddened.
Yeah.
I would be frustrated, but I would not be surprised.
Okay. So if they said no WikiLeaks, could we then say, okay, I'm going to establish a TikiLeaks?
Well, the problem is that WikiLeaks is now its own political party. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, in Australia. They have established their own party, and people are running in to be legislators, running as the WikiLeaks party.
Okay. Well,
Which is awesome.
yeah, that's
I
great
think.
for them.
So his quote's kind of a double-edged sword, because although he says that we should be looking into alternative ways people actually do journalism, and not just exclude the people who don't receive a salary or not somebody who works for the mainstream media.
Yeah.
He also says that people who work for WikiLeaks and all those, which I assume also includes Glenn Greenwald.
Well, let's hope.
Well, I hope it doesn't. I hope he doesn't exclude him from this bill.
Yeah.
But people like that, I think they don't want to be protected. So my question to you, Jace,
Mm-hmm.
is who should be considered a journalist? And then after we'll have a back and forth, and then we'll end on that note.
Okay. To me, a journalist is someone who is reporting, and this is going to be a little bit controversial because we have major outlets of media that don't do this,
Mm-hmm.
but are still considered to be journalists, that are reporting on facts that are being presented to them by either investigations,
Okay.
private sources,
All right.
personal experiences. So if you were to be, if you were an investigative journalist and you went
Sure.
to Afghanistan, it's your own
I
personal
see where
experience.
we're going with that. Okay, I agree.
So, and obviously you know what I'm talking about when I say mainstream media who isn't doing this,
Right.
like
Fox News.
Fox News is one of
We
them.
can call them out.
Yeah.
Also CNN.
But I still think that they should be protected. Fox News, CNN, CNBC,
Agreed.
MSNBC, they should still be protected because they're reporting on events. Now,
Although they are skewed.
they are skewed because
And sometimes completely wrong, and they're misinforming the public.
right,
They have a right to do that.
well, that's another debate.
I would say they have a right to say whatever they want.
They have a right to say whatever they want.
People have a right to believe it or not.
They do, but if they call themselves okay, so for example, Fox News is called Fox News.
Sure.
But if they don't report news,
Okay.
then they shouldn't be allowed to be calling themselves a news station.
Okay.
It's sort of false advertisement.
If Apple is called Apple,
Okay?
they don't make apples.
Well,
I think I just destroyed your argument.
okay, well, in a sense you might have, but you get my point.
I get your point.
You agree with my point.
I agree that. Well, what is your point? Because I don't agree that they shouldn't be.
Okay.
They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
So they shouldn't be able to slander and say Obama's a socialist Muslim who was born in Kenya.
correct.
Okay, but they're allowed to do that.
They are.
Okay, now if they're protected, that's fine. If it has to be a blanket protection, then I'm okay with them saying that and allowing the public to make a determination whether or not they want to believe them.
So my ruling on this would be.
Well, I haven't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I totally messed you up there.
So what they're saying here is
I messed up your rhythm.
you definitely did.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what they're saying is that the definition of this bill or this law has to evolve and progress like technology does, because I think that when they're talking about when Dianne Feinstein says if they don't take a salary they're not real journalists, and she's referring to mainstream media,
Sure.
that outlet is dying out,
Yes.
right? And
Well, it's evolving.
I wouldn't say that it's evolving.
It's evolving from television and magazines and newspapers to digital.
Well,
online.
it's trying to keep up with new journalists.
Well, yes. Okay.
Okay, so in a sense, you have to. What she's saying is you have to be a large corporation in order for us to control you,
Yes.
in order for you to be covered under this law.
Yeah, and that's correct.
Okay, so as long as
I think
I'm,
that's what she's saying.
that's what she's saying. She's saying we want the big companies to be protected under this law because we know they're going to play ball,
Okay.
and the little guys are not,
Right.
because guys like you and me or anyone else doing
Any type of reporting.
any type of reporting,
bloggers.
they're not restricted by, higher up saying, "Oh, well, we can't report on that because we don't want to lose our access. We'll just say what we want to say.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give the facts, not and we have no repercussions."
Okay.
And they don't like that.
I believe you.
Okay, so continue.
So I really would like to know what their opinions on what actual real reporters are. My opinion would be anybody who consistently goes on air, whether it's writing a blog post,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of not on air per se, but they are reporting on some type of event, but consistently.
To be available to be viewed by the public.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that those would be considered real reporters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, journalists and reporters, to me, are two separate things.
Okay.
We, right now, are reporting the news,
Yes.
and so that would classify us as reporters.
Right.
Journalists, in my opinion, are the people who go out and find the news.
Yes.
So, I think anybody who talks about any event
Mm-hmm.
that's happening,
Mhm.
that has become public, whether or not it was classified before or not,
Okay.
should be protected. Anybody,
Okay. I agree with you.
because they're not the one. They're just saying, "Hey, this is what's happening. I got this information."
Right.
I also believe that anybody who is receiving information from secret sources or inside sources, whether or not that stuff is classified or not,
Mm-hmm.
should be protected.
Right. They should be.
Anybody.
Right.
So if I receive some documents from somebody who says, "Hey, you really should get this out.
Mhm.
The American public needs to know,"
Yeah.
and I report that, whether or not this is my first show or not,
Yeah.
I should be protected. That person should be protected.
Well, in theory we are. However, that in practice we're not. Well, we are protected,
We're protected.
but demonized.
Yes. That's a completely different thing, though.
Well, no, if you look at Glenn Greenwald,
Yes.
Edward Snowden gave him the documents to be released.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they were released, and as soon as the Obama administration...
They did demonize him.
They demonized. They called him
Yeah.
a traitor.
Yes.
Right. So I think that he's protected in a sense that he's not going to be arrested, at least not right now.
Glenn Greenwald?
Yes.
He doesn't live in this country.
Well, neither does Snowden, but if he stepped out of Russia...
Well, he doesn't now. He
Right.
used to. He had to flee.
Right.
But I don't believe that Glenn Greenwald's going to get arrested anytime soon.
Well, I don't think so either.
He
But
lives in Europe.
okay. Well, then I guess so.
I think it was Europe. Don't quote me on that.
Okay. I'm going to quote you.
He could be in some type of Hispanic country. I don't know.
Okay.
I thought he was maybe in Italy, but he might be in Portugal. I don't know.
Well, I don't
Thomas,
think it
look that up.
matters. I don't think it really matters.
Thomas is a go-getter. He was. You guys can't see him, but he was on it. He was on it before I even said go get the info. I saw him turn his chair, and he's looking that information up. You got the info?
We're holding. And so is everyone else watching
Or listening on iTunes?
or listening.
Okay. Does it say?
Okay, it
Doesn't-
doesn't.
it doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
Okay, sorry guys.
All
We
right.
wasted your time.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Okay.
So I think that's it for today's show. I think it was a shaky but interesting show.
Yes.
We're gonna be. Just want to let you guys know we're gonna be putting out new videos every Friday
Mhm.
on iTunes and also on YouTube.
Yep.
And we're looking into other avenues as well, and we will let you know what those are as soon as they come up. Did you got it, Thomas? What is it?
It says here that he lives most of his time in Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Now you don't have to look it up.
Wait. Thomas has something else to say.
He is also a United States citizen.
Yes.
And his nationality is United States.
Okay.
Yeah, we knew that. He just doesn't live here.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
and,
well that's it, guys.
and if you have any topics you would like for us to discuss, go ahead and put it in the comments below. If
Yes,
you're on
please.
YouTube,
Twitter. We're on Twitter.
yes.
We're getting a icon put up tonight. So that is twitter.com/ or our hashtag. What is it? @ Weekly in
Weekly in
TV.
TV.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, so-
sorry.
If you have any topics that you
Hang on.
want us to cover, just go ahead and tweet us, or if you're on YouTube, put it in the comments.
Yeah, please follow us on Twitter and on YouTube, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. I'll get you that, or I'll put in the comments for the videos where that you can get that information at.
Yep.
And please like our video and subscribe and all that great stuff. So, other than that, Jace, anything else you
No.
want to talk about?
No.
Okay, well, I guess really, really appreciate you guys listening and watching. We had a blast today,
Mhm.
and hopefully we're going to have great stories for you guys coming out. Our kind of platform is that we're going to be doing stories that happened in the current week. So we put up videos on Friday, and that will be stories about what happened Monday through Thursday, presumably.
Except for the rare instances where you report on month-old stories.
Well, there was new relevant information that had to go with that, so I was just trying to preface it with
Okay.
a month-old story. But okay, guys, have a great weekend, and we will see you next Friday.
All right.
Thanks.
See ya.